Hi folks, welcome back to Mr. Gilliard's music class. I'm Mr. Gilliard. Now, this is lesson number 3, continuing you on in your quest to learn how to read and notate music. Now, briefly running back through stuff in lessons 1 and 2. You learned what a treble clef was. You learned that a staff is what we write music on, and a staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces. There are 2 staves, not staffs, drawn on the board right behind me. You learned what a treble clef was, as I mentioned earlier. Another name for the treble clef is the G clef. You learned what a bass clef was. There we go. You learned what a bass clef was. Another name for the bass clef is the F clef, because the line for F, which is this 4th line right here where my finger is, these 2 dots hover above and below it in the 3rd and 4th space. It gives it the name, the letter name F. Cool. Now, you're going to learn the rest of the letters, the names of the lines and spaces in the treble clef and in the bass clef this particular time through. Before that, I have to introduce you to 2 small concepts. The first concept is your first note, your first type of note that you'll learn. It's called a whole note. There's another one right up here. That's a whole note. And the second thing that you're going to learn is how many letters do we use in music? We use the first 7 letters of the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay, so you just learned what a whole note was. It looks like an oval. You just learned what a whole note was, and you learned we use the first 7 letters of the alphabet. After we hit G, we start over again at A. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and so on and so forth. And it just keeps repeating up and down the piano. Okay, so we've got our 2 staves here. We've got our treble clef staff, and we've got our bass clef staff. Starting off with our treble clef staff first, I'm going to put 4 whole notes, 1 in each one of the spaces, to help you get started off with learning where your lines and spaces go. Or rather, where the notes for your lines and spaces go. Treble clef, we've already learned that this second line right here is G. Now, what letter comes before G? F. Cool. In the space directly below it. F. An easy way for you to remember the names of the spaces in the treble clef is that they spell the word face. You wake up in the morning, what's the first thing you see when you look in the mirror? Your face. Beautiful. That's the name of the spaces in the treble clef. And space rhymes with face. Another easy way for you to remember it. Okay. The lines in the treble clef are a little bit more tricky, but not much. You can learn this very easily. And all of my ladies who are watching this will love this. I'm drawing 5 whole notes, 1 on each one of the lines. One of the little mnemonic devices that every music teacher has pretty much used down through the ages is every good boy does fine. E, G, remember that second line is G. B, D, F. Every good boy does fine. Here's another one for you in our nice materialistic 2007, 2008, and so on American society. Every girl buys designer fashions. Every girl buys designer fashions. So yes, you are noticing correctly. This bottom line is E. This top space is also E. They're just 2 different E's. One's a low E, one's a higher E. So, reviewing our lines and spaces for the treble clef. The spaces form the word face. F, A, C, E. The lines, every good boy does fine. Even George Bush drives fast. Though the speed limit is 55. Every girl buys designer fashions. Whichever acronym or mnemonic device you use to remember the names of the lines and spaces in the treble clef is cool. Now, our bass clef. Our bass clef. We're moving on to the bass clef now. I'm drawing 4 whole notes, 1 in each one of the spaces in the bass clef. 1 in each one of the spaces in the bass clef. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and give you the letters for this one. Real easy. I'll ask you a question. What do all cows eat? Cows eat grass. All cows eat grass. ACEG. That's a nice way, easy way for you to remember this. All cows eat grass. Cool. And the same as this, the note in the top space is usually also the same note in the bottom line. Same thing applies over here. Now, most music teachers have used a similar mnemonic device to Every Good Boy Does Fine down here, which was good boys do fine. There's that F, fourth line that we talked about earlier, always. Good boys do fine always. And I can't think of any others. Girls buy designer fashion anyway. I don't know. They're all kind of lame personally. I just try to remember the names of the lines. But if you can remember any of those, G, B, D, F, A. Okay, G, B, D, F, A. Good boys do fine always. And whatever else you can possibly think of. It doesn't matter what you use. It doesn't matter which mnemonic device you use, as long as you remember them. So, all cows eat grass, ACEG. Good boys do fine always. Cool. Writing up on the staff real quick, you'll notice we started the bottom line here. G, on that first line, bass clef. G, then the space. A, line, B, space, C, line, D, space, E, line, F, space, G, line, top line, A. Yes, they all run line, space, all the way up. Cool. Now you also see how they're supposed to be drawn on the lines as well. You'll notice that this is overlapping down into the bottom space or hanging over the line too much or anything. It's taking up the whole line, the whole space. If this is drawn on the line is going through the center of the note. Treble clef. Your bottom line is E, and the space is, yep, it's F. Second line, we remember our second line, because our second line is the what clef? G, correct. G. Second space, A. Third line, B. Third space, A. Fourth line, D. Fourth space, E. Fifth line, F. So, brief review here. We've ran through treble clef, we've ran through bass clef, we've ran through the names of the lines and spaces in the treble clef and in the bass clef. We've learned what a whole note was, and we learned that the musical alphabet uses the first 7 letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it repeats over again. We've learned the spaces spell the word face in the treble clef, and the lines in the treble clef can be remembered by Every Good Boy Does Fine or Every Girl Buys Designer Fashions. The spaces in the bass clef can be remembered by All Cows Eat Grass or just Ace G, as in Mr. G, my music class. And the lines can be remembered by Good Boys Do Fine Always, Girls Buy Designer Fashion Anyway. Which is true. Even if they're broke, they find some way to buy designer fashions. Okay, I'm only kidding. Please don't get mad and rate this a 1-star video. All right, that's pretty much it. Treble clef, bass clef, lines, spaces, all this good stuff. What's next? Tune in to lesson number 4 and find out. Peace.